Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Well, a lot of memories in those shots. I can't believe I graduated in 1994 from Cal Poly Pomona. It's been a while. The people in the back hadn't even been born yet. So, you know, I think about how I live my life here at Cal Poly Pomona and how I've been able to fit myself in, even thrive in a lot of situations. And I'm going to come up with about 14 principles. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share 4. We were given just about 10 minutes to actually go through our story here. And so there's 4 pillars, the 4 most important that I want to talk about that's allowed me to not only thrive, but as you'll see, sometimes even survive, and that's not a metaphor for anything. You know, I've said this many times before. I stand on the shoulders of about 50 people throughout my career who've helped me to get here, and somehow I'm the one that gets to stand up here. When I look at all of those people in a way that I could honor them, I not only pay it forward, but those who I pay it forward to, I make sure that they go out and they understand the importance of mentoring. I had the honor of speaking to the graduating class of 2019. This is this past spring, and I got more groans than I had ever heard any time before. Why would I get groans, right? Well, because I told them that after everything we had put them through, I was going to ask them of one more thing. And I went into this talk about giving to the people coming from behind you. That someday that they would come across 18 and 20-year-old snot-nosed, know-it-all kids who thought they had it all together, and I charged them. I charged them with one thing, and that was to help them. To help them. On the screen, you'll see my 2 most impactful mentors. That's my mom on the left, and this is Dr. Hemans on the right. And Dr. Hemans, he was my college mentor and someone I owe almost everything to. He's with us here today, and he started the C's program. And since retiring in 1999, he still comes to all of our events. He's still a big supporter of the program. For me, I remember this one time, I was actually interviewing for the position here at Cal Poly Pomona, and I told him, Dr. Hemans, I'm applying for the position. He goes, chemistry? I said, no, biology, sorry. And so he came, he showed up on that day, and I put a picture of him on the screen. And I said, you know, my mentor is here, and he's in the back. And I remember being given advice as to what not to do on an interview. And 2 of the things that I was told not to do on an interview was don't cry and don't cuss, okay? And as I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Dr. That's why I'm not looking at his face. So as I'm sitting here and I'm talking about Dr. Hemans, and this is, I think, 2004. I started on the faculty in 2005. I just start to sob in front of the whole faculty, right? And I could see, I've known Sep Eskandari since we were undergrads together, and I look over at Sep, and Sep is just like this. He was in the front row, and he probably still remembers that. And I'm sitting here, and I'm sobbing, and I've got students looking at me, and I got faculty looking at me, and I'm thinking, is this going well? So, luckily, they look past that. And so, for me, the mentorship has been everything. And I want to say one thing. It was a former dean in the College of Science. He said something to me once that stuck with me. He summed up my whole role in this career and in this life. He said to me, you know, I've got one job. I've got one job. It's my job to facilitate the success of all of those around me. And in that one statement, he just summed up what it was that I was to do. And so, to me, when I look at C's, when I look at the young professors in our department, when I look at friends and family, that's my role, and no matter what situation I'm in. This is the emergency room at Pomona Valley Hospital, and this was my home for 15 hours. When I got here, I was so tremendously excited. I came here with my hair on fire, wanting to do a million things. And the senior faculty kept telling me, you know, you got to slow it down, you got to slow it down, you got to slow it down. But I knew everything that I wanted to do. It was some years ago that I started to develop some symptoms, pressure in the chest, and I couldn't remember some of the other things as well. And then one day, I'm standing there in lab with my graduate students, and you guys know that tingly sensation that you feel in your arm when it starts to fall asleep? I start to feel that, except it's all across the upper jaw. And I tell my graduate students what I was feeling, and they're like, you have to get to the hospital. You have to get to the hospital. Later on, they were pissed to know that I drove myself to the hospital. And so I'm sitting there on the freeway. And I've got tears coming down my cheeks, and I said, I can't believe I'm having a heart attack at 37. So I go, they do an AKG, they're like, we gotta rush you to the hospital, to the ER right now. So they rush me to the ER, and they hook me up to these machines, and I'm there for 15 hours. They're taking blood throughout the night. And the next day they say, well, there's no heart damage, but your body was shutting down. It's a stress-induced thing. And a lot of the faculty started to hear about it and so forth, and I got some fingers wagged at me and a lot of hugs. So for me, one of the things I would say is collaboration became everything. And I had a slide which must have had maybe a dozen collaborators, and I thought, well, no, maybe we won't get to everybody. But people like Winnie Dong, people like Terry Gomez, right? People like Michael Page, people like Alex Rudolph, people across the College of Science, Engineering, and Ag, they're among those 50 people whose shoulders I stand on too. So if you want to push and you want to survive this place, collaborate. Collaborate. It's made all the difference. Support. For me, I get support from everywhere I look, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And I had another list of people who I get all sorts of support from, and I thought, no, there's one person. There's one person I've got to dedicate some time to. This is Dora Anderson, and I want to tell the university leadership here, I have the best program coordinator on this campus. She won the Provost Award long before I did, so I'm kind of behind. Dora taught me one thing that I was so bad at. See, I'm going to kind of poll everybody here. Who here thinks that if they don't do something, it really isn't going to be done well by somebody else? Anybody? That's right? That's me. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done right. I was blessed to take over the C's program in 2013, and I walked in one day, and again, just being the type 1 person that I am, okay, I got to get this done, we got to see. I walk in, and Dora's just running around. She's running around just doing things, and she's pointing to the students. No, just kidding. No, she's pointing to the students, and she's got them going all over the place, and I see that everything is kind of taken care of, and then she kind of sits me down, and she talks about what it is that I want to do, and so forth. And so for the very, very first time in my career, I actually learned to trust others. I learned to trust others and to delegate. And that, along with the collaboration, saved me from a second trip to that ER. So, number one, pass on the mentoring. Number two, find those collaborators. And number three, find that support. It's everywhere. So I owe Dora everything. I can't do what I do day to day without Dora. So, and I'm glad she got that in 2012. I love my students. They are the reason why I smile on my way to work every day. They test me, which I guess is fair game, right? So every day I walk into the community rooms, and their smiles. They're comfortable enough with me to tell me all of their drama. They go on and on about their lives, and they just inspire me. And I tell everybody, I would not change my job for anybody I know. They, we come back 10 years later and we're a bit older, but they never age. Year in and year out on this campus, they never age. And so they always have that enthusiasm, right? They're bushy-tailed and bright-eyed, and to me, they keep me young. If I sat here and went on and on about everything that they've taught me, specific stories, the principles by which to live, because they're so diverse in every way, I get to learn what it is to have a certain background and try to get through what is Cal Poly Pomona. I can probably go for an hour. So I was, again, sitting with a different dean at one point, and I had just gotten here, and the dean said, you're doing too much. This was before the hospitalization. He said, you're doing too much. I'm going to show you how to do what you want and not feel so much pressure. You need to learn how to say, not right now. And he looked at me, he said, there's all these things that are going to come to you. And you're going to feel that, yes, I can help with that, and I can help with that, and I can help with that. But never will you actually get to one thing where you do it to the fullest extent. And especially after the hospitalization, I sat there and I thought about it, so that when people came to me and it's something I wanted to do, I would tell them that I would, but not right now. And so what did that allow me to do? Focus. And at one point, I found my passion. Everything I do is student success. It's the way to pay it forward to my mentors, right? And it's a way to nurture that next generation who I also expect to mentor when they are 47 and up on a stage. So I owe them a tremendous amount for what they've taught me. And as I said in the video, if I can help half as many people as Dr. Hemans helped, I would consider it a career. C's was 200 students at the time. We have 800, so I think I'm getting there. Okay. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Faith, talking about faith on a California public university campus. It's one of the things that we tiptoe around. It's one of the things that's invoked by the students, but we cannot reciprocate. But I was told, you've got some minutes to just talk about you. So I've got to say that all the things that I've gone through and many of you know my life, maybe you don't, all the things in my personal life and all the things that we are hit with on this campus, all the initiatives, all the executive orders. I've seen faculty in tears over executive orders. Hi, Barrett. I have seen people just overwhelmed by the weight of what we are asked to do and then what we put on ourselves. And day to day, I need to release that somehow. And I just I just surrender all of that to my faith, because to me, if I couldn't do that, I think I would be crushed the way I was in 2009. I think it was a decade since I went through that episode. But I've had some other smaller episodes, but not that much. So to me, pass on all the mentoring that you know to the next generation. Find support. Collaborate. I couldn't do this without all the C's advisors. I want to say a couple, I don't see here, but I want to say two things. I love Sep Eskandari. We went to undergrad together, we went to graduate school together, and we're here on the faculty together. And when we were on the same floor, that's right. And when he was chair, he was a tremendous amount of support, even on a personal level. When I would come in tears and all this stuff, he was always there. I also want to say, I don't see her, Provost Award, I wanted to, that I love Terry Gomez. I love Terry Gomez for all the support that she shows me week in and week out. I couldn't do what I do without her. And so I had to mention those two people. I'm so fortunate to be here. It was my dream. I called up one of the faculty members in biology when I was in graduate school, and I said, this is my dream. It's the crown jewel. And I was told, well, there's 23 universities. There was less then. 23 universities, so don't set your hopes high. But I guess coming and crying on that day made the whole difference. And so I'm glad I got through today without tearing up, which is why I don't look over at him. But those are the 4 pillars that really got me through here, that allowed me to excel here, and as you see, in a way that's not a metaphor, helped me survive here. So again, I see so many people here that I consider mentors and collaborators and supporters. I see different chairs, Craig Lemunian, Angel Valdez, chairs, and my dean, Allison Baskey, who brings so much to the table in that very organizational type of way that I've learned so much from her as well. And last but not least, I just want to tell the provost how much I appreciate her. I love the relationship that we have and everything that we've been able to do together. So thank you so much for that. And I want to thank the students who have behaved, and I thank them because they made some threats to me in terms of what they were going to do in the back. And so I thank them for having behaved, and I thank you for sitting here and just kind of listening to my story for 10 minutes. Okay, thank you so much.